We were wrong about some big parts of the FNAF story, and in this video, I'm gonna prove it to you. But in order to do that, we need to solve one of the biggest mysteries in Five Nights at Freddy's. What we see in FNAF 2 is the result of them contacting Henry. Henry starts his work at the FNAF 2 location, but is still getting attacked by the animatronics because William tampered with their facial recognition systems. We aren't playing as Michael in FNAF 3, hallucinating all of the past pizzerias being burned to the ground. We're playing as Henry, hallucinating his endgame for how he's gonna stop William Afton once and for all. What if Glamrock Freddy was meant to be Henry, not Michael? Need more proof?
Yes, John, I need more proof. I'm gonna try to be professional about this, but, what are you doing? John, bro, I was for you, man. Yeah, I had doubts about the evil Charlie thing, sure, everybody did, but I believed in you. And then you go and you say this, and the worst part is, it actually makes sense? What possessed you to do this, bro? This is like Matt Pat Sans' Nest levels of ridiculous. Anyway, enough venting. Today, I'm going to be going over the outrageous theory that Mr. John Andrews from FNAF has come up with and just share my thoughts on it and hopefully try to tear down this theory. So if you didn't watch FNAF's video, then watch it. Just kidding. Okay, I'll explain it. John said that Henry Emily is the protagonist of the FNAF games and that Michael and William are like this father-son duo going from pizzeria to pizzeria, stealing remnant to try to revive their family. So hopefully after that summary, you can see how John's theory contradicts the lore a little bit. By which I mean the entire story. This theory completely rewrites the entire story as we know it. John also completely screws up the timeline, placing Sister Location during FNAF 3. Now, I obviously have a little bit of bias towards Sister Location just from the amount of theorizing I do on it, but seriously, this is outrageous. That being said, I think he's onto something. Yeah, I know, I was just yelling at him a bit ago, and you guys are probably about ready to start a riot, but just hear me out on this. John's theory checks out. Almost completely. The only thing that is a little sketchy is actually the FNAF 3 minigame placement, but other than that, it checks out. Henry is going from location to location trailing William and Michael. Henry is Mike Schmidt. Henry is Jeremy Fitzgerald. Henry is FNAF 3 guy. Now yeah, I know that Jeremy is assumed to be the 1987 bite victim, but nobody cares, it's never been confirmed either. Fritz Smith is still Michael though. The one day that Henry takes off in FNAF 2 is the day that Michael comes in and takes apart the animatronics, which is exactly what Henry was trying to prevent. Henry is an engineer, he makes the robots, so he would be able to rig the wiring of Fazbear Frights to burn the place down without him in it. Now Michael could too, but let's just run with this theory for a little bit. Also, the phantom animatronics aren't burnt looking because it's Michael's flashbacks, but it's Henry's premonition of what's to come after he burns down Fazbear Frights. Now, putting Sister Location during FNAF 3 makes some stuff weird. This would make Sister Location not be the start of Michael's journey. Michael's journey starts sometime around 1985, but really begins in 1987. The reason Michael gets fired for odor is not because he's a rotting corpse, but because the animatronics have dead kids in them. But putting Sister Location during FNAF 3 can check out. This is actually when I originally thought Sister Location took place 6 years ago when the game first came out. The most obvious evidence being that in the end it shows Springtrap and the burnt down Fazbear Frights. Also, when Michael says he's going to come find William, we don't know if it's a threat or not. That's just how we're interpreting it. It could very well just be Michael saying he's going to find his father so they can start experimenting again. Also, when Michael brings the robots together in FNAF 6, he's not doing it to burn them all, he's doing it to bring William back and destroy the other animatronics to get their remnant. Then to expand on this, I don't think John says this in his video, but Michael could have survived the FNAF 6 fire and is who revives the franchise for Help Wanted and Security Breach. Just a thought. Obviously not true, but a thought. John then goes on to say that Glamrock Freddy is Henry because Michael wasn't nice to his brother, so why would Glamrock Freddy be nice to Gregory if he was possessed by Michael? This would also explain the gray guy in Midnight Motorist. Many people have speculated that the gray guy in Midnight Motorist is Henry. In that minigame, the gray guy seems to care for Crying Child / Michael or whoever the runaway kid is. So it would make sense if Glamrock Freddy was Henry because he would have that caring nature toward Crying Child. Now obviously all of this is just completely insane and completely rethinks this entire series as we know it. But that's the point I'm trying to make. This theory is ridiculous, but I think that's the point. Well, I do think that John was serious about this theory, and I don't want to make light of all of his hard work. This theory should not be taken seriously. It's the concept that we need to understand and embrace. I've been saying this for a while. Somewhere a while ago, we got something wrong that is skewing our entire view of this franchise. John understands this. He thought outside of the box. He went against the standard. This is how we need to think now. Help Wanted and Security Breach changed the past games. Things will be different now. We need to stop looking at this franchise like we got it solved. We have to think like John. Start from the beginning. Try different scenarios. So while John Andrews' FNAF is most likely wrong with his theory, and I absolutely despise this idea, he's on the right path. And like I said, it makes sense. The evidence checks out. Same with MatPat's Mrs. Apton theory, which is just a whole other can of worms. A theory for another day, hopefully. I feel like MatPat just threw a bunch of stuff at a wall and the Mrs. Apton theory stuck. The evidence just happened to work out. There's a lot of different things that could work. We're just too comfortable with the idea that we understand the lore of the first 6 games. Okay, now for the last bit of this video, let me just completely destroy John's theory. Number 1. Ever heard of the security logbook, John? That was obviously written by Michael, and has the FNAF 3 pizzeria in it, along with the FNAF 1 animatronics. How do you explain that if Michael wasn't at FNAF 3? Number 2. Have you ever heard of Fazbear Frights, bro? I'm pretty sure it confirms that Michael works in FNAF 3. Number 3. Glamrock Freddy says his friends are down in FNAF 6. I doubt Henry was friends with the MCI kids. Michael was a teen then still, so he might have been friends with them, but Henry definitely wouldn't have been. Number 4. If Henry is the protagonist, then why do we play as Michael in 3 games? Number 5. If Michael is a villain, then why does he choose to burn, and also why does Henry act like he knows and understands Michael wanting to just die? Number 6. Are you telling me that Phone Guy could not trace the owner of Fredbear's Family Diner when both owners worked at Five Nights at Freddy's 2 at the same time? Also, if Henry worked the night shift while William worked the day shift, they would have run into each other eventually. How are you gonna explain that? Number 7. If Michael and William are working together, then why does William jump scare Michael in FNAF 6? Why would he kill his own son if they're working together? Number 8. The character encyclopedia literally shows that Henry isn't in FNAF 1, 2, or 3. Number 9. If Henry is a protagonist, then why does he see Golden Freddy? Sure, he might have cared for Crying Child a bit, but he didn't have any real connections with him that we know of. Unlike Michael, whose entire story revolves around Fredbear's and Golden Freddy. And finally, number 10. If Henry is the protagonist, then why is Michael the only character who we actually get details about? He's the only real character in this series. Henry is never even called by name in any of the games. The only person who we know for sure is Henry is Cassette Man in FNAF 6. And there you go. 10 reasons why John Andrews' theory does not work out. But the theories don't have to work. And hey, he could be right, you know. Don't take my word for it. I'm just a random internet stranger talking into the void, so if John's right, if I'm right, it doesn't matter. And I mean, it's just a theory, right? A game theory!